Hi everybody, I am getting Benaisha Kharas on this in a second. Just give me 1 second. Um, and I'm going to introduce her and get us started on today's conversation about image consulting, which is a very neatly seen word everywhere, and mental health of caregivers for those on the spectrum of autism or otherwise. Give me 1 minute till we have her here. Uh, Hi, Ricardo. Good to see you here. I hope you'll join the chat. Sorry, everybody. Give me 1 second till we have her. Hi. Hi, Benaisha. I can see you here. Yes, I'm just gonna accept it. Oh, for some reason. Hi, Ricardo. All right, amazing. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. Good to see you. I got my hair cut just for the live. I was like, I must look presentable and my image should look fashionable before I chat with you. So yeah, I'm all set and I'm so excited to have you here. Can you hear me? I think there's a little lag at our end.
Yes, yes,
Can
yes. Now I can
can you
I
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you. Now I can hear you and see you. Yeah.
Amazing. I can also hear you and see you. I'm going to quickly introduce you, Benaisha, but before that, I'm just so grateful that you're chatting with me about, image consulting. And, as you know, I run Brain Bristle, which is a foundation for autism,
Yes.
which is actually so far, like, we work really hard every day for their images and their mental health and, everything to look like it should to fit into the society. So it's super
Sure.
helpful. And I know you worked a lot with special kids, so you fully understand this. So I'm so excited that, you're going to be chatting with us for the next half an hour to 40 minutes. But I'll quickly introduce you and then we will get going. Awesome. So Benaisha and I, like when I was just starting Brain Bristle, Benaisha and I talked about creativity. I remember it was an amazing chat. And today we're just going to quickly talk about mental health of caregivers and mental health and images of those on the spectrum. But before that, I'm going to introduce her, which is Benaisha is a global master image consultant, mental health enhancer, integrative personal counselor. She's India's first youngest image master consultant and a four-time winner of the Global Excellent Leadership Award, a winner of the Business Excellence Leadership Award 2022. She's worked with hundreds of clients globally. She's led thousands and thousands, I think 7,000 plus workshops in her work of image consulting and mental health, personal integrative work, and all of that. And she has more than 11 years of experience in the work of image management, mental health, and mindfulness, and how do you live mindfully and positively and beautifully. And also, of course, fashion consulting. I see some of your reels and I'm like, I need to spruce up my clothes. So I'm really excited to talk about brain bristle, families of those on the spectrum of autism, loved ones, grown children on the spectrum of autism, and what does actually uh, image consulting, what does actually looking good in a crazy, chaotic, hustling world look like. So we'll just talk a little bit about all of that. But just like let's start with your work across these 11 years, Benaisha. Like what does image management actually even mean?
So, image management is about managing how you look, how you feel, how you think, how you behave, and how the world perceives you. So it's about being attractive, authentic. It's about creating a synergy between what is expected out of you in society and what is truly authentic to you. So I feel like, the most easiest and simplest way is about managing your first impression. And that's what image
Yeah.
management is all about. in today's time, we only get 3 seconds to really put our best self forward. And here, image management kind of enhances your appearance. I won't really say changes, because we're not here as consultants to change you, but it's about enhancing you. So in a nutshell, that's image management.
Got it. And what has been like your work with image management? What has been your range of clients that you worked with, the demography of people that you worked with?
Right. So I've worked with kids to senior adults. So basically, this the age is pretty wide. But the average age of my audience, I would say, over the last 11, 12 years has been somewhere between 18 to 25. And, that's kind of been my niche. However, over a period of time in the last, I would say, 3, 4 years, I've seen a large increase of, the age group of, say, 35 to 50 as well, and for both aspects, which is image management as well as mental wellness. So, yeah. And
So definitely,
demographically, it would, yeah, sorry.
no, go on, go on, go on.
I was saying demographically, I've had the privilege of consulting individuals across the globe. I've lived for a brief amount of time between, 2 different countries apart from India, which has been New York and Dubai. And I've had the first-hand, experience of actually consulting individuals who are non-Indians as well. And today I have a good amount of clientele which are from various different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, racial backgrounds. And I think the world's gotten a lot more smaller, given the fact that today we can do a live with anyone, anywhere, without having ever met them, or for that matter, workshops as well, which have conducted online, or individual consultations as well. So, yeah.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so tell me, Benaisha, like we have people like India is a melting pot of so many cultures and communities, and just today I was consulting, like I was talking to somebody who works on LGBTQ community of India, who are like angry, want to come out as activists, as so like there's like all kinds of this creative people who want to express themselves in different ways. How do you go about I know many children on the spectrum of autism who are now in university, who want to cut their hair a certain way, wear certain earrings, dress certain ways, or like post certain memes. How do you go about image consulting? Even I mean, I'm clueless. How do you go about image consulting for such a wide group of diversity, demography, people wanting to express themselves in different ways?
So I think coming back to the point of being authentic, that is something that is really, really important, at least if you're consulting with me, because my idea as a consultant is really, again, not to change you. It's to like work around what is authentic to who you really are, and what is it that you feel in that space comfortable. And dressing up is an art form. It's about expressing who you are. So whether it's about getting a haircut or not getting a haircut as well,
Right.
or it's about whether it's accessorizing, or even getting tattoos, or whatever it may be, the choice of clothing, the appearance that you choose to have. It's all a very large part of expressing who you are. And I've had clients who have been from the LGBT community. In fact, very early on in my career, I started with a few clients who came from such a community. And honestly, while they were figuring themselves out, I was helping them understand and feel a lot more comfortable. And a large part of my work is about, marrying the two concepts of your external and your internal look and feel. So it's not just about your clothes, but it's also about how you feel
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I do, counseling as well as image consulting. And these are the two sciences that I have studied to kind of marry and integrate, because in such situations, and I would say in most situations, you need both these two subjects to kind of empower you in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that image management allows you to really express yourself in the correct way, because through such a thing, you learn about messaging. So what kind of clothing do you really want to put across? How much is too much? How much is screaming? How much is being subtle? What is the real message you want to give in this crowd, or this event and otherwise? So yeah, it's a great help.
Super helpful. So can I ask you a follow-up question to that? I have worked with a large and I like I'm we're in different fields. So like I'm all about like, sure, you want to go out rebel, right? Go rebel, go do whatever. But like I know a lot of teenagers, or like kids who are now in university, or like even like their parents who are struggling with their marriage and all of that. And there's a lot of like rebellion as form of authenticity that sometimes I see, like cut my hair
Yeah.
short, paint my nails black, like like just making statements. What are your thoughts on like some of that, and your work with image management? Have you worked with clients like that?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely. I have men, women who go through their midlife
Yeah.
crisis, and they kind of go pretty, you know, creative, I would say. They go
Yeah.
very creative in a way that their families have never seen before, whether it's a haircut, or whether it's the choice of garments, or sometimes even the language that they'll end up speaking. You've not really heard them say that. And speaking of, children on the spectrum, of course,
Yeah.
it's a very natural feeling. When I've worked with adults, for example,
Yeah.
somewhere in
Yeah.
their 30s, they have batchmates, class people, cousins, most definitely, or siblings sometimes, who have gotten married, who have kids of their own, and they aren't getting married.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, their parents think that it's best not to. And in some cases, truly, it is best not to, because of course their levels is is they're different. I mean, it's safer for
Yeah.
them in some situations, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what happens to such individuals at that given point of time is that they express a lot of their anger through being rebellious, whether it's the
Yeah.
way they talk to their parents, whether it's their expression of behavior at events.
Yeah.
I've had a client who I've worked with for several years, and she literally, whenever she went to her, and she had lots of cousins, and she went to her cousin's wedding, she would be like annoyed, like, why do I have to, one, be at this cousin's wedding?
Yeah.
Two, why am I not getting married? Like, why is no one talking
Yeah.
about me getting married? And like, this cousin is younger than me. Like, isn't that the rule?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in therapy, she used to be like talking to me about like, why can't, why aren't you also finding me a boy, is one she told me. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so I think they have a lot of suppressed rage, which they kind of bring out through speech.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's also through their clothing. So I
Yeah.
had her once say that, why don't you think I look attractive? Or,
Yeah.
maybe even I should wear like a plunging neckline.
Right.
Or maybe even I should
Right.
wear really tight clothes. And, once I took her shopping, and and she decided on trying on something like this. And while I said, it doesn't really look good on you, she
Yeah.
insisted and
Yeah.
wanted to buy that, and she did.
Yeah.
So I think that at such given point of time, through my experience, I think it's best to show them that this may not be the most necessary thing for their
Yeah.
even being appropriate. It's not necessary for
Yeah.
you to have this really tight fitting dress, etc. But if they
Yeah.
don't see any sense in that, and they don't really see, um, they land up seeing that you're against them as well, especially if
Yeah.
you're their therapist or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
want to kind of just play it cool and be like, okay, go ahead, try it out. Let's see how it works for
Right.
you. And when for example, with her, she did try it out, and she did have a few people tell her that, "Stop, what, this is not really nice of what you're wearing," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think that's when she came back to me saying that, maybe you were right. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. Maybe I overdid it. So I think it's a process that some, again, understand this and some don't. Some
Right.
get told in a very compassionate manner and they
Yeah.
understand, and some get told off and they get even
Yeah.
more aggressive.
Yeah.
So I really think it's also very dependent on the society around them who gives them this kind of feedback, especially with our special adults
Right.
and kids too.
Right. Right. So can I ask you? I know this isn't in the list of questions that I sent you, but but there's a lot of pressure that societal pressure that we live in, right? When I saw you see perfect bodies, and you see like these perfect weddings, and you see these perfect
Mm,
marriages, and you see all of that, and you think what's your work been around managing in people just trying in this world of perfection that we see around? Like you see perfect skin, perfect hair, perfect lives, rich, flourishing people. And most of India is, or like most of the world is not there, right? So
sure.
I'm sure like a lot of reaction, rebellion, frustration, mental health issues come from that. How do you go about like working through that? What has been your experience?
So I would say all of us are in this comparison paralysis, wherein we're always
Totally.
comparing who's got how many followers, who's attending what, what's someone
Totally.
wearing, what's the holiday destination, all of that. And I think what's really important is to understand that, if you really want it so bad,
Yeah.
it's my funda. If you want it so
Yeah.
bad, make it and do it and get it for
Yeah.
yourself. And if
Yeah.
you can't, or you choose not to, then be accepting. Don't hate.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, like some people when they come in therapy, they're like, oh my God, but why does she have to do that? Why does she have to, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, today you may not be accepting of a lot of people and their habits and their culture and their choices. But you don't necessarily have to, understand their reason for it. You just have to be like, okay, this is how she is, this is how she is. If you're
Exactly.
so bothered by it, put yourself out of that environment and thrive in your own situation. So
Totally.
when a client comes to me and says, what, for as basic as I saw my friends, they're having the best time of their lives, and
Yeah.
someone's husband is taking them on this holiday and that holiday and giving them
Yeah.
this jewelry and that stuff, and this one's
Yeah.
got these grades and all, and I am nowhere in this picture, and I'm just started sitting and sulking at home.
Right.
So my first question to them is, what are you doing about
Yeah.
getting what you want? And
Totally.
usually their answer is, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So the next thing that I tell them is that if you want to be as successful as somebody, try to put yourself in their shoes and see what is it exactly that they could be doing. Like, what are the
Totally.
efforts that they're doing? You know,
Exactly.
so if they're working a bit more, if they're, whatever they're doing about it. And then
100%.
another thing, is that sometimes in life, some
Yeah.
people get served with great fortune without working.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
today you can't look, I mean, the Ambani wedding is happening at this moment while we speak. We can't
Right.
be like, oh my God, I wish I have that wedding. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, why hate on something when, it's just, it's not in the scheme of things.
Right.
It's sometimes that you don't need it. You just desire it
Yeah.
in some direction or the other, but it's not a need or a necessity. So I think a lot of us operate from a point of need, greed, comparison, and that's what makes us
Totally.
really, really unhappy. And if we just
Yeah.
focus on like, okay, but I don't have F, but I have
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, you
Yeah.
know, I have a lot of the other things. So I think, of course, it's a more detailed approach that I work with my clients on, understanding as to
Yeah.
what is it that they're really upset about, and, what is the level of comparison and all of those things.
Yeah.
But this is just like a snippet to kind of answer you.
So tell me something. So I know a lot of families, Benaisha, and I've known them for many years, where, exactly like that, they'll see Kim Kardashian do this, and they'll see Hailey Bieber do this, and all of that. And then like these children, these teenagers and their families are like pushing these kids, and these kids are working really hard, and they're desperate, and they're struggling.
Mm.
And like their image is far from looking good in any way. But at
Mm.
what point do you like stop striving for something that is so far off from you? At what point do you settle into, okay, this is it, and this is who I am, and that's it, right? Like how do you balance the ambition versus reality debate, which goes on in many growing young people?
You know, I think it mainly starts from the parents. Today, I
Yeah.
work with a substantial amount of parents when I counsel their children as well, to tell them that there could be many things that you may have not done in your life. There could have
Yeah.
been many dreams that were not fulfilled in your
Yeah.
life. And, you know, fulfilling them through your child
Yeah.
is one of the most unfair things that you can do as a parent.
Right. Right.
And whether the child is autistic or not, whether the child is
Yeah.
Down syndrome or not, whether the child is
Yeah.
dyslexic also or not, or whatever
Yeah.
ability or disability that the child may have or not,
Yeah.
just, just putting your desire and your wish onto your child
Right.
is a very selfish, I would say.
Right.
And it's a very subconscious thing that happens because their parents did it to them.
Yeah.
So today, if I have to do this to my child, I think it's very unfair to do it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it stems down from there.
Yeah.
I had a girl once in therapy with me, and when she was younger, I mean, today she's much older. She came to me when she was 15 years old, and she literally said that I'm so intimidated by the way my mom looks, and my mom
Yeah.
is so pretty, and she expects me also to be like that
Mm.
and be fit like that, and she puts a lot of pressure on me. And this 15-year-old girl was a bit on the chubbier side.
Right.
And,
Right.
and I actually had a conversation with her mom, and I said,
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair that while your child is going through a whole, physical change in her body
Yeah.
and her hormones,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
constantly telling her things like, oh yeah, you're going to eat that one more chocolate. Of course, that's going to make you put on so much weight. Of course, you're
Yeah.
going to eat that as well, right? Don't you think you should have any responsibility? I mean, just let her be. There is a better way to say it. There's always a better way to say it.
Yeah.
So I think that if parents just work on their vocabulary sometimes
Yeah.
even teachers,
Yeah.
I think those are the things that, kids hear, and then they pressure their friends to do it or themselves to do it. And then I had this girl who was like, oh my God, I really need to lose the weight or else I'm never going to get a guy. At 15, she catastrophized her entire love life that
Yeah.
could possibly be like some 5-7 years away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of times the parents are, the parents are constantly. I mean, I had a client who was 12,
Yeah.
and she literally threw a fit to get Jimmy Choo shoes. And that's
Yeah.
simply because her mom did similar things with the dad.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
asked her, I said, where do you think she got this from? And the mom actually admitted to me saying, you know what, actually it's me.
Right.
I did the same with her dad. I said, I wanted these pair, and then she
Yeah.
threw the same fit at me. So I think it's a very
Yeah.
it's all about comparing again, and such a thing about being perfect, and especially with skin and makeup, and it's
Yeah.
not bad, but after a point it's horrible. So I think you want to
Yeah.
just slow down what you're really telling your children, how much you're really pressuring them, or you need to be perfect in math, science, English, environmental studies, and all of the other extracurricular activities. Why?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it starts
No,
from
no, no,
there.
that's totally true. And I fully hear you. I think like there's so much like perfection around, and well, like everyone doing so many things around, that sometimes it's hard to catch up, but also like sometimes just letting go and being who you are
Yeah.
is authenticity. Uh, so tell me, Benaisha, do you also work with families and parents who are actually like struggling because of their children
Yeah.
and like all of that? And what has been your journey holistically with that?
Yeah. So I do work with parents who, um, who have challenging children,
Yeah,
and it's quite tough.
yeah,
And I think their frame of mind, their state of mind is so volatile every single moment.
yeah,
I empathize. At the same time, I recognize their struggles to help them understand how to navigate through this a little better.
yeah,
Most times, it's always the start is always denial in any
yeah,
case, that why or how did this happen to me?
right.
And more than me, sometimes it's like, why do we have a child that has to suffer or go through something like this?
Totally, totally.
And their heart goes out to their children because they want to help their child, but they
Yeah,
don't know how to help their child. And
right.
even though today we have so many facilities, such as yours as well, but parents find it so hard because at the end of the day, when they have to go back to their rooms and sleep on their pillows alone to kind of just think of how is tomorrow really going to be with their children. And
Yeah,
most fear of all parents is what happens after me,
totally,
right?
totally.
And that's the only thing they're thinking it's a nagging thought every single day. I haven't
Yeah,
met one parent who has been like, life will take care.
yeah,
Even if they've had siblings, they are
yeah,
like, but the sibling will have their own lives, and what will happen to my child?
right.
And they do have a tough time, and I can't really say that there has been even one situation or one case in my 12 years of, handling such parents, that a parent has completely, eradicated the thought of it's all good, and, it's all great and everything is going to go well. I think
Yeah,
parents really feel insecure. Parents really do struggle with keeping up with patience. I think that's one of
right.
the most important things, because they're
Yeah,
like, I get it. Like
yeah.
I had, I had somebody today itself tell me that I get it that
I
you're
get
my
it.
child
Yeah,
and you're just a
yeah,
child, but I
yeah.
can't take it anymore. Like she was just like, the mother was
Right,
just like, I just cannot deal with this anymore,
right,
you know?
right, right,
And
right.
I think I mean, I know it's a bit wrong to say that mothers go through a little more than fathers, but it's also an underlining fact that sometimes it is.
It is. Yeah, yeah. So tell me, Benaisha, like I'm friends with a lot of moms of difficult children, or like not even difficult, but children who are going through a phase of development, and that phase is going on too long, and
Yeah.
it's just like trying them and draining them out. What would be the three biggest pieces of like not just therapy, but like advice that you think that parents or young moms should hear about, like just
Sure.
just figuring out life.
Number one, I would say is be open with your communication with your partner about how you feel and how you're navigating through your emotions.
Yeah,
From, I think, the phase of like a postpartum to like your child being much older and then thereon,
yeah,
I think being a parent itself is extremely overwhelming. And
right,
navigating through those emotions is really important. And postpartum, I'd say, for a woman. But
Yeah.
even men go through, you know, feelings, various
Right.
kinds of feelings on being fathers.
Right.
Because, you know, a woman is a mother the day she knows she's pregnant.
Right.
But a father becomes a father or a parent the day he holds the child. So the mother
Totally.
has 9 months of advanced feelings and she's
Right.
processed it through and somehow
Right.
worked around it. So coming back, I would say number one would be to communicate with your spouse, you know,
Yeah.
and to say how you're really feeling and to divide certain responsibilities that come with it. Because a lot of
Yeah.
times what happens is that one parent continues to do a lot more than the other.
Right.
And that's because either they've got the hang of it or the child is responding more to one parent. And then the
Yeah.
other parent is like, no, but I think he or she's comfortable with you, so you just do it. But that's
Right.
not how it is. The child needs two parents, uh,
Totally.
not just to be created, but also to thrive and to be supported.
Totally.
There is
Totally.
there is a biological, physiological, emotional, absolute reason why you need a mother and a father. Yes, in
Totally.
unfortunate situations when you have only one parent, it becomes difficult, and that's where you need extended family to support you.
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
thing I would here say is, I mean, I think the second thing would be here to kind of, deal with the responsibilities individually. The next thing I would say that's also really important is um, if your child is of age to understand,
Yeah.
set a few boundaries, set a few rules, guidelines, set a manual like, okay, mama can do this and mama can't do that.
Yeah.
So mommy can do
Yeah.
this for you and she cannot do this for you, which
Yeah.
means you will have to do this for yourself or you'll have to find somebody else doing this for you. So set a
So
few
true.
boundaries that are from the younger ages as well. And honestly, this works with all children, special or,
Yeah.
normal as well. So I
Yeah.
think if you explain it to them in the most simplistic format when they are younger, it's just
Yeah.
understood. It's absolutely understood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen this personally happen. But if you give in to your convenience, whether it's
Yeah.
about just giving them a phone because they're not eating and you're like, okay, eat it out. And then after 5 years, you're like, oh my God, but you're only watching TV and you're eating and this is not the way to function. Well, that came through you as well. So I think we need to be very
Yeah.
mindful as parents as to what is it that we give and what is it that we don't. And
Right.
and of course, last but not the least, to seek help. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no shame in seeking help at all. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times
Yeah.
I've had parents who have come to me saying, Benaisha, I've thought so much and now I think I'm ready. But why were you thinking so
Yeah.
much? We think,
Yeah.
but then don't think to a point where you are the therapist also going to think of you. Because that's not what you're supposed to
Right.
think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just as a follow up, like because I know you hear parents' side of the story, and that's super helpful because like those are excellent piece of advice. But also like as a child who's growing up, 18, 21, 24, they want to
Mm.
take risks, they want to figure out their authenticity, they want to be free. How do you kind of like balance like how if you're working with a 18-year-old who is just like a wild child, how do you like help them find freedom but still like maintain images, maintain rules, maintain authenticity? Like how do these young people find balance
Yeah.
with image and all of that?
So, I particularly like when I work with boys and girls of such an age group,
Yeah.
I guess because I'm a girl, girls are a little more receptive to understand and, follow through with some kind of, I would say, guidance from me in that case. And versus boys would be like, really, you really think I need to do that? You know,
Yeah.
so I have some of
Yeah.
those conversations with them, and I explain to them. I actually do more like a pro con. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
if you do
Yeah.
this, this
Yeah.
will happen, and
Yeah.
if you do this, this
Yeah.
will happen. What is it that
Yeah.
you want to do? Whenever
Yeah.
you give, and I think this is something that is golden with any human being, not just with an 18-year-old or any teenager.
Yeah.
It's with any adult as well, or any child as well too. We as a we as a society have become so opinionated about so many things, and that has become our
Totally.
vocabulary. So we
Yeah.
land up saying, I think you should do this.
Right.
Well, my response usually would in my head be, I don't think I want to do any of things that you're telling me to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in such a situation, it's nice to be suggestive to somebody and say that, all right, if you do this, this can happen, and if you do this, this can happen. What is it that you would
Yeah.
like to do? What is it that makes you
Yeah.
comfortable to do?
Yeah.
And the answer could be, I don't want to do any of it. That's also fine.
Right.
Or the answer
Right.
can be either one of it. Now, when the
Yeah.
answer is I don't want to do any of it, I then question and I say that, all right, what is it that you have in mind?
Right.
Now, when I am saying that to an 18-year-old, when I'm saying that to someone who's rebellious,
Yeah.
what happens to their mind is they're like, I have just been asked what I want without
Yeah.
for once somebody telling me what to do,
Right.
which means that I have the opportunity to choose. The
Right.
only thing that is the most frustrating in anyone's life is when you take the opportunity to choose from them.
Right.
Because that's the only thing we all have in our lives all the time,
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is something that even animals understand, that everyone has a choice, has a
Yeah.
choice to choose. And
Yeah.
when you take that away, they
Yeah.
become rebellious. So that's what I
Right.
tell parents, that whenever you're saying anything, be suggestive.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Yeah.
be condescending. Don't you think
Yeah.
you should pick up your plate?
Yeah.
No, instead of that saying, I think it would be nice if you picked up your plate.
Right.
No.
Right.
So I think those changes, if we start from childhood, instead of saying, play with this toy,
Yeah.
these are your toys. Which one would you like to play with?
Yeah.
Okay, if you like to play with this one, would you
Yeah.
put them back? Would you put the
Yeah.
others back if you don't want to play with them? You're more
Yeah.
likely to have a receptive child.
No, that's awesome. So can I ask you a question? How do you like from a child's point of view? Because I know lots of 16-year-olds who are not Indian necessarily, or even Indians, who have this freedom of choice, but then they keep making bad choices, testing boundaries, doing that. Like, how would you teach a 16-year-old to make good choices? Like, what would be your work with some of that?
Um,
Because that
you know, to
that in
be
itself is, I think, where trouble comes in, right? Like they'll go, they have freedom and they keep making bad choices. We hear of that in the news every day. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, you know, those are tough situations because the mind is very funny and complex.
Yeah.
And no matter, people may feel one thing at one moment and then suddenly they may feel completely different at a whole different moment. And
Yeah.
in that very different moment, they may take these drastic steps and
Yeah.
decisions that may harm themselves at a very strong space.
Yeah.
Let's, for example, take drugs,
Yeah.
right? It's just a
Totally.
matter of the first buff, or the
Yeah.
first something or the other, whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
in that very moment, it's how the person is made to feel. If he or she is made to feel like they're really going to be missing out if they don't do this because of their circle, then no matter how, everyone knows drugs are bad. Everyone. I
Yeah.
don't think there's
Yeah.
anybody who knows that it's not good for you, right?
Yeah.
they try to convince themselves that it's herbal and it's good and all that jazz, but
Right.
that's a very different thing. So the idea here is to kind of make when a parent is communicating with a child, I think, and this is something that my parents did for me, and I feel like that really worked, was to
Yeah.
educate your child about what is the good and what is the bad, you know,
Right.
and exposing them to what are the negative possibilities of the world. Like I remember my
Yeah.
dad clearly telling me that, alcohol is good to a point. Drugs are bad, and this is what happens to you. There were
Yeah.
movies that he never shunned me. My parents never really shunned me from watching and such things like that, where
Yeah.
it was violence or
Yeah.
something. But they said that it would be
Yeah.
best if I didn't, but they again made it more suggestive. So what
Right.
happens is that then I'm more conscious, and then
Yeah.
I felt responsible because my parents said, okay, you're going out tonight. You are responsible to make sure that you come home at so and so given point of time. Yes, there was
Right.
several times that even I made bad decisions, but
Right.
I felt most times compelled to make, you know, like good decisions as well that maintained my safety. So
Right.
I think, and it's also very important to understand that each child has a different personality, and that is something you cannot alter.
Totally.
If if I'm inherently adventurous, rebellious, and all of that, as much as the
Yeah.
parent, the therapist, and everyone kind of says things
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
but if I want to try that out, I'm gonna try it,
Yeah.
and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep trying if I like it. So I think
Yeah.
it's a very case to case study. I'm sorry I can't give you a really particular
No, no,
answer on it,
no. That's
but I
excellent.
think
That's amazing.
it's like all these are very variable situations. But by and large, I feel that after a point when the child cannot take the pain any longer, they
Yeah.
surrender. Anyone actually. But
Yeah.
it's unfortunate some of them do really drastic steps where we can't get them back. And that's
Yeah.
beyond even like a rehabilitation center. Some of
Yeah.
them take their own lives, and it's really sad. I've had situations wherein people go the extreme end of things just to fit into their friend circle and their society, and that's very, very
Totally.
scary.
Totally.
But we can only control what we can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, it's amazing. I mean, I watch a lot of reality TV, and I'm like, I see Kim Kardashian and Kourtney Kardashian, and they're fighting on reality TV, but like now they're going to the Ambani wedding, and they've been like flown down. And I think there's like such a fine line between what's good, what's bad. If you do something bad, how do you like if you're doing something totally crazy and nasty, how do you turn it to make it look good? Like there's just so much that goes on. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
think
think
like
that's very twisted. So,
yeah,
I mean, reality shows aren't really real,
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
what I
yeah,
definitely know. So, yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
but yeah, it does definitely play on the young minds a lot because they see that
yeah.
epitome of perfection, glamour, fame,
Like
name, and they're like,
sometimes
that's
bad
me.
publicity is working well for you, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and like yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
yes, I think that's where, and again, your role as a parent really comes in to be more accessible and available to your child and
yeah,
more friendly rather than um, rather than just kind of saying do this and don't do that. Being
yeah,
suggestive helps. Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen that really work in a lot of
yeah,
places.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything, I mean, we're at 7:45. Anything else that, like, because the population that basically, I mean, I think this video is applicable to everybody, but anything else that you think, like, we live in a world of a lot of imperfection, people trying, people hustling, people like trying to do all kinds of tactics to make it out there, in Bollywood, in music, uh, in the world of entrepreneurship, all of that. And sometimes like it looks really bad on paper. What would be your advice to like, just like how, how do you think about images and reputation and first appearances when you're just a trying young person?
I think what's really important is to firstly understand what are you comfortable doing.
Yeah.
I remember when I was much younger, I literally tried so hard that to fit in, and it really took the life out of me. It took the life out of me to a point wherein I was like, you know what, this is not working for me or for my society around me, because
Yeah.
I'm not even being perceived the way I want to be perceived. So what am I really?
Right.
I was trying in all the wrong directions. Yes, there are some
Totally.
individuals who try harder than usual and make it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've really never been a fan of the concept of fake it till you make it. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think you fall really flat with that. And
Totally.
how much will you fake it, and till what extent will you fake it, and what is
Totally.
the boundary line that you really stop at?
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of realized that, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to my lane and first figure out what I like, who I am, what suits me, whether it's like a garment or a behavior or a pattern or a thought or whatever it is, and just go slow. I tell this to all kids, and
Yeah.
that take one step at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out. It's a
Totally.
lie. It's a big lie. Like, I'm 33 today, and I think I'm
Yeah.
still figuring out my next
Yeah. Yeah.
steps, you
Yeah.
know. And there is no adult, absolutely no adult that I assure from my knowledge, who has
Yeah.
it all put together. I have people
Totally.
who have told me that, oh, but you look like you've got it all together. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I may have all together for this week, but
Yeah.
I'm probably having a chaos somewhere, somehow inside me.
Totally.
But
Totally.
yes, you can't always be chaotic and crazy. You have to pick
Totally.
up your bags, you have to walk every day one step at a time. It doesn't have to be a rush. You don't have to look like a mess.
Yeah.
But if you have consistency with what you do,
Yeah.
you will look put together and you will
Totally.
figure it out one step at a time. So yeah.
Totally. Totally. Okay, there was a question that said,
Yeah.
how do you parent yourself? Tips to parent yourself in your 20s, in your early 20s. Because I think a lot of like children grow up and they're like seeking how do you kind of give yourself self-love and yeah.
Hmm. Parenting yourself, I know it's a very long process. Oh, yeah, parenting yourself. Sometimes what happens is, no, our parents come as a little damaged,
Yeah.
and we need to be parents to ourselves. And
Yeah.
in such a situation, I think what's firstly important to know and
Yeah.
accept is
Yeah.
that whatever your parents did,
Yeah.
they did to the best of their knowledge.
Yeah.
They did it to whatever they understood of
Yeah.
being a parent at that very given point of time.
Totally.
But
Totally.
if you are holding that on, that my
Yeah.
parent didn't do this for
Yeah.
me and didn't do that for me, and I would never do this to my kid. And if you're going from that sentiment, you're
Yeah.
you're not going to move on. You're not going
Yeah.
to be able to parent yourself, because then you're
Yeah.
parenting yourself from a very rebellious point in that direction. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Instead of that, you can gently, first step is compassion towards your parents, then
Yeah.
compassion towards yourself. Okay,
Totally.
I'm not damaged. I'm just
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you start by parenting yourself through self-compassion. You start by
Yeah.
telling yourself what are the things that you think could be better with you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your
Yeah.
communication skills, maybe it's your listening skills, maybe it's your body language, maybe it's how you talk to people, maybe it's about your
Yeah.
relationships, management.
Yeah.
It could be all of those
Yeah.
things. And
Yes.
I think therapy, of course, helps you parent yourself a lot better.
Yeah.
And but if you want to do this by yourself, what's really important is to um, is to feed yourself, is to
Yeah.
communicate with yourself
Yeah.
positively, rather than just
Yeah.
constantly being very, very negative about why didn't this happen? Why am I like
Yeah.
this? Why am I like that?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's an attitude that one can adopt.
Yeah.
Another thing that we can also look at is when we're talking about reparenting
Yeah.
is firstly knowing what is it that your parents didn't do for you that you want to do for yourself,
Yeah.
and how can you achieve that?
Yeah.
Is it through
Yeah.
external people, through your careers, through mentors, through books? What is it that you're missing
Yeah.
out? Like
Yeah.
I have people in their early 20s who say that, I really don't know how to be in a relationship because I've never seen my parents be in a good one. They're
Yeah.
constantly always fighting. So in
Yeah.
that situation, you have two choices. You can be better than your parents because you've not seen a good relationship, or you can be
Yeah.
just like them because that's all that you've seen. The choice
That's
again
right.
is yours. So you can go
Yeah.
through different experiences like that as well. Be vulnerable, be very open to the fact that tell your partner in such a situation with relationships that, yes, I do have a troubled environment and I would like you to help me navigate through this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
there are
I
lots
love
of ways
that.
to
That's
reparent yourself, but
that.
yeah, just a
Yeah.
bit,
No, no,
yeah.
I constantly tell my mom, and my mom is 70, I tell her that, love yourself like, you'd love your little girl now. Like, I think that's the kind of like spirit and seed of self-love that
Yeah,
comes, because like, with age, wisdom comes, and then, you kind of like stop loving yourself. And I'm just like, Mom, love
yeah,
yourself like, you would love a little baby girl right now. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to share before we close out? Because this was so like real and helpful, and that's what I love about you. You're just like so real and so true to who you are and what you
Thank you.
think. It's just amazing to always chat with you.
Thank
Anything
you.
else that you want to share before we
Um,
close out?
no, I think you've asked me wonderful questions, and I hope that I've answered to the best of my
You
ability.
have.
And
It's amazing.
I hope that whoever's watched this has been um,
Yeah.
found it useful. If there's anybody else who'd like to have a question, I'm happy to answer that. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it from me.
Yeah. Is there any questions that you'd like to um, yeah. I'll post this. If anyone has any questions, they can either post them in the comments, or like your website is there and your handle
Sure.
is there. So like they can just reach out there.
Yeah.
So this was super, super, super helpful. Thank you for doing this on a
Thank
Friday night. I just think for so many parents and for so many young people, there's just like such good iteration of what they already know, that this was amazing. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
This was
Bye.
good fun.
Take
Bye.
care. Have a good
Thanks.
night. Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.